Hi, it's, what is today? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, I think the 22nd or something like that. I'm here with
I'm Niamh.
Niamh. She's a writer from...
I'm originally from Minnesota, but I moved to Wheeling, West Virginia about 2 years ago.
Yeah, so right now, where are we?
We are in Moundsville, West Virginia, which is a few miles south of Wheeling. Took us about 2 hours to get here from Wheeling. Yep.
Right, Yep. We were going slow. We stopped to look for some treasure, but we found a couple pieces of clay, brick, but no good stuff yet. I gotta find some good stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So, so last night I met, you pronounce it Niamh, right?
Niamh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's Irish, so it's got some letters that you don't...
Yes, Niamh is how it's spelled, so it's a little different than it sounds, yeah.
I thought the French were bad with Fort Duquesne.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
But so we had a nice day on the water. But anyway, let's talk about you. How did you end up in Wheeling?
Yeah, so very random. I was telling him earlier, like I could not have pointed Wheeling out on a map a couple of years ago. My cousin Caitlin moved down here for grad school. She's going to PT school at Wheeling University. And I was just bartending in Minneapolis, had gone to journalism school in Minneapolis and was kind of like looking for a way to get back into journalism. So she had an open bedroom. I was like, fuck it. Can I say that on here?
not really, but once is okay.
Okay, all right, once is okay. So moved down here, packed my stuff in a U-Haul, drove down, started working for the local paper as a reporter. Really wasn't a good fit for me, so I worked there for like 6 months and then found this job through a local nonprofit where I'm running a street paper. So we cover homelessness, poverty, addiction in the area. I'm the editor of that paper, and it's really great. I love it. So.
And what's the paper called?
Mustard Seed Mountain. Yeah, check it out.
And I saw when I was reading it, street paper. I wasn't familiar with that term. What is that?
Yeah, so it's basically a paper that covers those topics I talked about, but we also have a vendor program where low or no income people basically vend the paper on the street and they're able to keep what they earn. So they buy the papers from us at like a nominal fee and then they sell it for $3. We have one of our vendors who was able to like take himself out to lunch for the first time in a long time and buy his prescriptions and stuff like that with the money that he was able to make from it.
Oh, awesome.
So
awesome.
it's kind of like supporting people that are low or no income and giving them like dignity in work and stuff like that. And there's a whole like international network of street papers, so we are far from the first to do this, but yeah, it's great to have it in West Virginia where there's obviously a lot of poverty and people needing that like kind of hand up. So
that's great. I mean, just the number of papers too. I mean, because like I don't know, in Troy, I think we have the Troy Record. Sure. If that's still up and running. My hometown newspaper, I don't even know if that's still running.
Sure.
There's just very few actual print publications that are still around, at least in the capital region of New York where I'm at.
Sure.
So it's cool to see, because there's multiple papers. So
definitely, yeah. We have like our local daily, and then there's a lot of independent stuff going on. So there's like some local magazines, there's Mustard Seed Mountain, like there's kind of a young, like, excited bunch of people that are like producing independent work, which is really fucking cool. So
that is awesome. Yeah. And these are actually printed, right? It's not online.
It is printed. Yeah. We print quarterly. So we have our next issue coming out August 1st, and we're online as well. But yeah.
And the daily, is that printed too? Or?
The daily is. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like Tuesdays and Thursdays or something now. But yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Every other daily.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So you got a printing shop, printing press and everything.
Yeah, so we for Mustard Seed Mountain actually use the same press that the Intelligencer does, which is the local paper.
Yep.
So
Gotcha.
And it's right there in Wheeling. So
And nowadays, do you know, mechanically speaking, do you got to like typeset everything in there, like, or is it kind of digitized?
No, they're still using like the physical, press. So it's really cool. Yeah.
That is
so they're
cool.
making like I don't know if it's 10 or whatever. I don't know that much about the process, but they're making the plates for each page. So
That's amazing. That is
cool.
Really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I actually didn't realize that you went to journalism, that you studied journalism.
I did. I dropped out, partially for financial reasons and also because it was like mid-COVID and I was just having a hard time, as everyone was. So don't have a degree, kind of have been trying to make my own way, and like I was saying to you earlier, like Wheeling is a really cool place where you can kind of make your way without a formal education or without a ton of money or whatever. Like if you have the drive to do something, you can really make it happen for yourself. So
And bartending is a good skill for that too.
Bartending is, and that's how we met. So,
yeah, exactly. I've gone back and forth myself from being a bartender to office worker.
Yeah.
Over the years, and I love that part. You can that's a skill that you carry with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Almost like an independent contractor.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You know?
I don't think I would like hop on a random boat with a dude I met 24 hours ago if I wasn't bartending and, you know, have experience meeting people and talking to people and kind of putting yourself out there. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she was nice enough to clue me in to the fact that it was karaoke night last night. And what was the name of the place?
Taqueria 304.
Yeah.
It's a little local downtown taco spot. Bobby's a great bartender.
Bobby was awesome. Bobby
Yeah.
just gave me a free beer for no reason.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. What do you call those curbs in West Virginia?
Oh,
the curbs are like this high.
Bioswells, yeah. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I don't know all the ins and outs of how it works, but it's something environmental.
It's basically every curb, and then like flower boxes
Yeah.
have a big curb enclosing organic material, trees
Yeah.
and vines and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
Let's talk about the flooding in West Virginia,
Yes. Yeah.
or this particular spot, right?
Yeah. So last June we had a really bad flood. I believe it was 9 people that it killed. The Big Wheeling Creek overflowed and, you know, torrential downpour, flash flooding, and it was really devastating. Like, people are still recovering. There's hundreds of homes that were impacted. People lost their homes. You know, it happens every couple years on Wheeling Island. It'll flood, but a flood like that on the creek, you know, happens more rarely, and it was devastating. And not getting like the support we needed, like federally, was hard. Like, local mutual aid organization, other like nonprofits, and, you know, other groups around town were doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it came to like mucking people's homes out, stuff like that, getting people the resources they needed, food, water, cleaning supplies, masks, like all that stuff. So yeah, it was really, really devastating. So
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard about that flood, but in my Ohio book, Captain Rick Rhodes, you know, that was written probably 15 years ago, and in talking about Wheeling,
Yeah.
he talks about the flood from 1990 that wiped out 35 people and
Right.
countless homes and stuff like that. So
yeah.
that's something that amazes me about the Ohio Valley. It's different than the Hudson Valley. The Hudson Valley is very wide and flat, and when it rains, you know, sometimes it might raise the water maybe 5 feet. That would be a crazy amount.
Yeah.
But here, it just rains and everything's flooded.
Yep.
You probably can't see where we're at, but I'll show you in a picture. The dock. The dock is attached to these vertical poles that are, what would you say, 2 stories high?
Yeah, probably.
Because it's going to raise up that high sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
So that's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So mutual aid, what is that?
Yeah, mutual aid basically is the idea that like you help your neighbors out, you give and take. When someone needs something, you help them out. When you need something, they help you out. It's kind of a natural principle that we all follow as humans. You know, it's just like helping a neighbor out with whatever they need. But in Wheeling, I mean, I think it was already a group that existed, Ohio Valley Mutual Aid, but really kind of gained momentum after the flood because they were one of the groups that was out there day one, helping people, like I said, muck out their homes. So yeah, I think it's something that's been around for a long time, and I think it's picking up more and more as people need more support financially, you know, with things like floods, as environmental conditions change. Like, it's really just about like helping out the people around you and not depending on organizations or even nonprofits to help you, because there's a lot of bureaucracy there that you can kind of skip past if you're just like, I'm going to show up and help you scoop mud out of your basement, you know.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So it's volunteer. It's not government.
It is volunteer. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. All volunteer. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We could use more of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we were also talking about the fact that, sorry, there's a big truck going by. In my grandfather's generation, you know, you had bowling league, you had everything that you could join.
Yeah.
And now there's no third space. There's
Right.
no clubs and things like that to join. You go to work or you go home.
Yeah.
But it sounds like mutual aid or something like that is something you could meet people and be a part of a community.
Yeah, definitely. I found a lot of community there. Yeah,
That's
and just
cool.
in local organizing efforts and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's kind of a wave of young people, especially in Wheeling, because that's what I can speak to, that are really trying to like make a difference. And there's a lot of revitalization efforts going on. But yeah, I think there's especially a lot of young people that are organizing and running things like the mutual aid group that are like, how do we look out for each other and make this a better place to live and make it a place that like people want to move to or stay instead of moving away, because there is population decline in West Virginia. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a common theme of every city between Troy to Wheeling so
Yeah.
far, it's that you had a big population. The population shrunk.
Yeah.
The built environment is only like a third occupied.
Yeah.
You know, so it's interesting. You know, the same issues that are being dealt with in these different cities, but
Yeah.
we don't have a street paper. We don't have a mutual aid society
Sure.
that I know of. If we do, hey, try to publicize it a little bit more, guys, because I've been living there for 20 years, don't know anything about it.
Sure.
And do you want to talk a little bit about Americore?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I'm employed right now. Is Americore, which is basically a federal paid volunteer program. So it's basically a way for nonprofits to be able to staff themselves for things like a street paper or other projects that they maybe wouldn't have the funding for otherwise. So it's a federal program. I get a stipend every 2 weeks from the federal government, and that allows me to run this street paper out of our nonprofit. My nonprofit's called the Mother Jones Center for Resilient Community. So we have a lot of like community art classes. We work a lot with the unhoused population in Wheeling. We help people get like their IDs and other paperwork they need if they don't have that stuff on them. A lot of different projects like that. And most of the people that work there are Americore. And that's really kind of the only reason that we are able to have the staff that we do. So yeah, it's a great program.
Yeah, and I want to say, because I was reading the paper that you edit yesterday at the bar, and a couple of things really struck me. One, there's an obituary section.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be morbid, these are people that die, you know, and it seems like reconstructing as best you can from whatever details you have to recognize that someone has passed away. That's really something. And secondly, you know, just pointing out that if you don't have a home, you have to carry your possessions around with you, right? And how difficult it is to go to a job interview when you're carrying everything with you. And now you're saying to get papers. So I can imagine maybe getting, painting, doing something under the table, but you want to do something above board on a permanent basis, you've got to have an ID. You got to have, and how do you get that?
Yeah.
And God forbid you lose it.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, it's every little thing. I'm sure things you're running into as a nomad along the Ohio River. It's like, where do I find my next shower? Where do I find my next meal? Like, how do I kind of find these people to help me out along the way? And what if I don't have these things that I need? And how do you show up for a job interview or hold a job when you don't have somewhere to like lay your head at night? Like it's kind of all these things that people don't think about when they're just like, well, get a job. And it's like, but there's all these steps in place that you don't think about. Your day to day from wake to sleep is so much more complicated and stressful and burdensome when you're trying to like figure out all these little details all the time. So
I mean, I was asking on the way down, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do I smell? Because I haven't taken a shower. If I was interviewing somebody and they smelled awful,
sure,
that's something you got to deal with. Yeah, geez. And where do you use the bathroom? How do you get a shower?
Because there's no public restrooms. Like there's very hostile architecture for people that are unhoused. So
Hostile architecture. I like that. That's an interesting.
And it's a term. I didn't coin that. You can research it. But
I like that.
It's spikes on city benches so you can't fully lay down and nap. It's things like that. So,
right.
Yep.
Right. There's a heroin epidemic going on in this whole country. But when I stop off to use the bathroom at a porta potty in a public place, it's locked.
Right.
Because I don't want people to use heroin. Okay,
right.
Well, I guess then people aren't even going to use the bathroom either.
Right. Yeah.
Thank goodness I can afford to go into a restaurant to use the bathroom.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And as far as homelessness, like another group that we think about when it comes to that is like people who have criminal records. Like, there are certain people who, because of their record, they can't get into public housing. They can't even get into certain shelters. So it's like, where are you supposed to stay? And then there's kind of been a trend of shutting down camps and things like that. And we've had even locally like people complaining about seeing more unhoused people like on the streets of downtown. And it's like, where do you expect them to go? There's nowhere to go. And some of these people like cannot get into public housing, or even if they are, eligible for public housing, it can be like a 6-month wait. It can be longer than that. So there's kind of all these barriers in place that I think people don't think about all the time. So,
No, it's very interesting. I mean, this is, I feel like, an issue too that like, and I'm being charitable here and saying our generation, but in Albany, it's a thing. I mean, people don't want to go out to the businesses because there are so many people asking for money, and the businesses are shutting down. On the other hand, there's people saying you can't just kick these people off the street. And I don't know what the answer to that is. This is something I've been struggling with. You know, the restaurant I worked at, was there for 40 years. You know, but the tips started going downhill because there's people just laying right on the sidewalk. Nobody wants to come. You know, but what happens to the people? What do you do? Truck them out of town and drop them off like the beginning of Rambo?
Right.
You know, so I mean, like, yeah, it's something we have to deal with.
It's a challenge. Yeah, it's a societal issue. Yeah, and the cost of living keeps going up. So
the cost of living.
There's going to be more and more of it. Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
Well, let's end on a more positive note. You got like an adventure coming up, something you're looking forward to doing in the next year?
Yeah, my sisters and I are going to Portugal at the end of August, which I'm super excited for. We're going to Porto, so I'm excited to explore, and I haven't been out of the country in almost a decade, so it'll be great to explore and hike and eat and do all that fun stuff. So a little bit less rugged than this, but but yeah, it'll be great. So I'm super excited for that.
Awesome. Well, I'm real excited, and this is great. Always great to meet another writer.
Yeah.
And somebody that's you know, involved in the community. I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks,
and you're my first guest.
Passenger.
Yeah, first passenger. You know, since I've been on the Ohio, so that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you a good Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, we're sure having one.
Thanks.
Thanks.